Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I had several people send me this story, including Chris from Business Insider, and the headline reads, "Funny highway signs are banned starting this week. Womp womp." And it says that, W-O-M-P, W-O-M-P. Morgan McFall Johnson wrote this. And you know what we're talking about is the digital signs by the side of the road or over the road where they can type in a different message. And I'm not sure where those are controlled from. I know that some of the portable ones are controlled right there because there's a wave of a couple years ago, people hacking into those and typing silly things. But we're talking about the things being put in by the people who actually run these. And quite often you'll see useful information like, accident ahead or road closed ahead. But you'll also see jokes and puns and sometimes they're good-natured. They're trying to get your attention and make you think about something, but sometimes they're just stupid. And there's a problem with humor, and that is that some people haven't got a sense of one. So some highway signs crack jokes, use puns, or riff off Taylor Swift lyrics to remind drivers to be safe. I'm telling you right now, if you're riffing on a Taylor Swift lyric, I will not recognize it. I'm not actually aware that I've ever heard a Taylor Swift song all the way through. So enjoy them while you can, Morgan points out, because the U.S. Federal Highway Administration has ordered all 50 states to stop putting messages on electronic signs that are intended to be humorous, reference pop culture, or could overall adversely affect respect for the sign. We want people to respect the sign. And I actually have no problem with this because a lot of times those jokes are stupid. And I'd rather have them just a reminder, it is illegal to text and drive, that kind of thing. Safety messages on changeable signs should be simple, direct, brief, legible, and clear. The agency said in a manual published in December. Now, here is the real kicker of this article. The manual that the agency published on this is 1,100 pages thick. It's an 1,100-page manual on what you can put on those signs. The new standards go into effect January 18th, but states have 2 years if they want to drag their feet on this. To adopt them. State highway officials and sign writers argue the jokes grab attention, but federal regulators have said they are risky in two ways. Number one, they're distracting. And number two, not everyone can understand them. I've seen a couple that caused me to stop and think, like, what are they getting at there? And I'm talking about real ones. I'm not talking about the ones that are jokes and memes on Facebook. States, including New Jersey, Ohio, and Massachusetts, have leaned into crafting quirky, funny, or holiday-themed messages. The Arizona Department of Transportation even holds an annual competition for new traffic safety messages. In 2023, residents submitted over 3,000 ideas. The winners were, "I'm just a sign asking a driver to use turn signals." And "seatbelts always pass the vibe check." I will admit I have no idea what that's a reference to. The first one, of course, I'm familiar with what that is. But I hope the message makes people chuckle and happy that they are wearing a seatbelt. You pass the vibe check, said an Arizona resident who submitted one of the winning ideas in a press release. Not all playful safety messages have been so beloved. The Wall Street Journal reported that one controversial message, "Get your head out of your apps," had to be retracted from signs in Colorado after residents complained. "You don't want to be widely provocative," says the man who manages safety communications for Colorado's Department of Transportation. "You want to be memorable, and you want to generate conversation at the family dinner table." Again, it's, everybody wants to be the water cooler TV show, okay? That was what these referred to as, a show that was so hot that you could count on a discussion breaking out the next day at work about it, at the water cooler. And so, hey, did you guys all see Friends last night? Or, hey, did you all see Seinfeld? And you discuss it. Or Lost, or whatever the latest hip thing is. Twin Peaks. And number one, roadside messages are not television shows. And the fact that you post a sentence and you want people to be generating conversation because of it around the dinner table, you're aiming a little too high, and quite likely the only way you can generate that kind of conversation is by posting something that offends somebody, like "get your head out of your apps." The new federal manual, which is 1,100 pages thick, offers a few examples of language that would be acceptable for highway safety messaging, such as "no handheld phone by driver," or "state law, fasten seatbelts." And again, that's quite simple and straightforward. And again, like I said, And here's the thing. I don't know that it actually hurts anybody when you've got a sign up that says something like "Get your head out of your apps." People see that. It's a reminder that you can't be using your mobile phone handheld while you're driving. But does it really accomplish anything? And I don't know if there's any way to actually quantify this. I suspect that if somebody were to spend millions of dollars, they could study this and do some kind of controls and double blind and different roads, and then duplicate the results in another state. I understand that it's hypothetically possible. And knowing how our federal government loves to spend money and do things like, print a 1,000 to 100 page manual on how to make your signs more memorable or more useful, it just seems pretty obvious that if you have people putting up things like this that are goofy or memorable or funny or whatever you want to call your attempt at, whatever you want to call that, it's asking for trouble. And we've all known people who have no sense of humor, but think they do. And so you're never going to get everyone to agree on humor. That's literally something that you cannot get consensus on, which is why earlier when I cited Friends or Seinfeld, there are already people right now who have typed going, I never liked Seinfeld. I never liked Friends. And I never said the shows are universally liked. And of course, nothing is universally liked. But one of the things that people do tend to disagree on is humor. And so I know what I consider to be my favorite funny jokes of all time. And if I tell them to people, I've had people go, it's not funny. And I've had other people laugh. But I also know that other people have got their favorite funny jokes. And I know people who laugh at things that I don't think are that funny and vice versa. So when somebody's job is to put up something on a sign to remind people to wear their seatbelt or stop texting or to observe the speed limit or to slow down when it's icy out, that kind of thing, just post that. That makes more sense. Some people are going to ask and go, wait, Steve, how do the feds have the power or the right to tell the states how to run those signs? And the answer is pretty straightforward. It's the same reason that they can suggest things like, speed limits. The feds often dictate those. And the way they do that is they threaten to withhold highway money. So a big source of the funding in whatever state you're in, of the highway money to maintain and repair your highways comes from the Fed. And the feds, Washington, D.C., the federal government could say, well, if you don't want to play along with us on this highway sign thing, we will just simply not give you as much money as we did last year. And so by controlling the purse strings like that, they can control your behavior with respect to how you handle your roads. So there you go. But I'm more curious about that 1,000 to 100 page manual, which explains how you can't be using attempts at humor. And it very well could be that 1,000 pages of that is an attempt to explain humor, because it's so hard to explain to people what makes something funny. And you can't do it. It's like anything else out there that you know it when you see it, but it's hard to define, and you certainly can't teach it. And I simply have met people who have no sense of humor. None. Zero. And if that person's in charge of putting up signs, they say, oh, by the way, put up something funny, you're going to get something weird. You're going to get something weird. And there you go. So, Chris, thanks for sending it from Business Insider. Morgan McFall Johnson wrote that. Funny highway signs are banned starting this week. Womp, womp. There you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are so simple.